right to the
Too
beat
good.
trap
Like,
full of
damn,
AIDS.
that's a story.
As business owners, entrepreneurs,
DeMay, you're gonna love
family
the return.
men,
It's
difficult for us to
right
find
up
the
our
time
alley.
to put together projects like these, even though it's something we really want to
I
do.
love when we end on a happy note.
Unfortunately, taking care of the things we have to take care of comes first. However, because of viewer support for people
The
like
rest of
you,
it won't be.
we're able to continue doing this. Please consider joining our Patreon.
Well, we got 1,000
and
bottles of baby
supporting
oil to
the
get through the
Burn
whole
and
show.
Return podcast.
Oh boy.
You're listening to Burn and Return, a weekly 1-hour podcast covering news from the agricultural and turfgrass industries.
With a DJ scratch, you know what it means. Welcome to another episode of Burn and Return. My name is Matt. Sometimes I go by the Grass Factor, and thank you for joining us tonight. Alongside me, we have Ryan DeMay and Ray Ito. Gentlemen, how the hell are y'all doing?
As we sat there and pondered many things during the pre-show, the one thing that just came to my mind as we talked about Diddy is that, why 1,000 different bottles of baby oil? Why not just have a nurse tank, in your truck? It would have been so much simpler to fill up. I'm just
In a
these are the
Eco
things that
505 injection, just right, ready to go.
just hit that second trigger. Just tap,
Don't
tap,
go,
tap
buddy.
through.
It's a hose in a hose, so you know it's good.
So you got what do you? If we can get Timmy Bluegrass involved, we can put some Dom P on the first trigger. The primary. And then we'll do a little. Man, I tell you what, boys, take that on the floor at the Equip Expo, and you got something. Hey, listen, and we do want to preface this and say that horrific, just awful, depraved shit that he did. We're making jokes about it just because he's probably going to rot in hell.
It's easier to stomach reality.
What's the
Yeah.
Somewhere there's somebody's saying get the GIMP, and it's all going to be Marcellus Wallace time from there.
Ray, did you go to jail this week?
No, sir.
He's not even going to sugarcoat it.
No, I've been totally good, Matt. Promise. I've been totally good this week. I mean,
Good.
Scouts honor, promise. I mean, I haven't done anything bad.
That's good. Speaking of Scouts Honor, man, I could eat an entire bag of samosas right now. Isn't that Samoas or samosas? What are they called?
Samoas.
Samosas, the
Uh-huh.
Indian food, which is also banging, and I would eat the holy shit out of those too. You can get them with vegetarian or with meat, and I'll say from personal preference, I prefer the ones with meat, but the vegetarian ones aren't bad because they got potatoes in it, and it's fairly tasty. If you like potatoes, they're good. I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but I certainly did. I did not go to jail this week either, nor did I even really come close, which is good. That's a positive thing. We had a customer in town from Boston, so that was a good time for a company we do some work for. And boy, interesting conversations. I'm gonna be careful. How do I say this? Okay, so the company is Israeli owned, and I did not know how many of the Israelis are like really into American politics in a very knowledgeable way. That, man, these guys had me laughing so hard. I don't think I've ever, maybe one or two other customers have made me laugh this hard, but I mean, it was like a solid 6 hours that I could not stop laughing with the jokes they were cracking. I will say this is that they're not really a fan of either candidate, but boy, did they have some Kamala jokes that were just out of this world good. Boy, I was laughing my ass off, but I don't know. It was interesting. I was like, wow. I started texting people. I was like, man, did you know this? And they're like, yeah, of course I knew that. I was like, Jesus, I'm a brain rot idiot, apparently. With that out of the way, I'm sure we're going to have some great news this week. Actually, it's relatively light in news, but I'm going to do my best to crank up the anxiety meter here just a hair, just so that way everyone stays on top of their A game. Because even though winter is upon us, winter's coming, and not the winter of death that we experienced in 2022 or 2021, whenever the White House announced that. But this is just another winter's coming, and then oftentimes it's a time that we tend to detach. You're trying to grind through the rest of your aeration overseed season for the remainder of the month. Now you're starting to get burned out, and you just want to walk away from it. But I want you to remain engaged and involved, just so that way you don't get stuck in a position that you wish, 2 months down the road, like, damn it, I just wish I would have stayed engaged a little bit longer and had some wherewithal to stay in front of this. So with that, let's check out this week's headlines.
Nothing to fear here. This is just the
This is just the news. And coming at you first, we're going to talk about fertilizer prices. And the reason why is that here, we have, guess what? Potash prices are on the way down. I would say we see a increased capacity with the increased production that is coming out of the North American mines up in Canada. Nutrien said that they were going to get those going. And I'm not going to lie, gentlemen. I said then, good luck, wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing. And I'll be damned if they didn't do it. I guess for all that shit and jokes I make about Canada, Canada tends to do what they say more often. It's not like the French. You know what I mean? Damn, Canadians are actually on it. There's nice people, and they probably apologize for how long it took to increase production, just because they're fucking nice people. Not nicer than me, at least. And so with that, also, what did we also have? A little bit of softening? Phosphorus. We had a little bit of softening in phosphorus. All right. Now,
Yes.
that being said, is it going to be a game changer that all of a sudden, DAP and MAP are in, great pricing structures here? Well, not really. I mean, 1034.0, which is not necessarily DAP. A lot of times you're going to get that as a liquid. Still $593 a ton. This would be like low rent DAP. Basically, is 1034.0. Then we saw a little bit of softening in UAN 28 too. So I don't know how many guys are spraying urea ammonium nitrate or buying it bulk or commodity, but UAN 28 and UAN 32 fell. So now 350 a ton, 320 a ton for UAN 28, and then down to basically 600 a ton for 1034.0. Now DAP and MAP are still at basically 738 for DAP, 812 for MAP. That is still really, really expensive. So you got to think about it as a lawn care guy. If you're buying bags of MAP, which not a lot of people do, but I know several guys that do. I mean, you're still paying well in excess of $25 a bag. You're probably paying closer to like $30 a bag right now, if not more than that, for MAP, which is just crazy. I mean, that's absolutely insane. Potash is at 457 for the ton. Urea is at 485 for the ton. Now, we are seeing some softening right now. Right now, it did soften a little bit more, and we got a little bit of an uptick because India came in, made some large tender purchases there. But we do have some softening. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that there's probably a lot of your distributors that are buying on these commodity prices right now for early order program. I would expect, this is me just paying attention to little bits that I see and hear in the market. This is pure speculation. Do not take this to the bank and bet on it by any stretch of means of the imagination. I think we're going to see continued softening of prices until we get into planting season next year. So probably around February of next year, we'll start to see a big increase. But until then, I fully expect to see softening in prices. That being said, that if you do a lot of fertilizer purchases on early order program, hoping to lock in your cheapest price, are you going to get it on an early order program? Probably not the cheapest bag price, but if you include the rebate, it might be worth it economically to do it that way. So just something to keep in the back of your head there. This is going to be another season that if you do not need potash and phosphorus, there is zero reason at all to get it in your fertilizer blends or your fertilizers you apply. These are still really high prices. I'll give you an example. Pre-COVID, potash was like $230 a ton, right? And phosphorus was somewhere around like $500 a ton. And now we're $800 a ton. That's bulk commodity price, and we're at 457, 460 a ton for potash right now. So we're still 50% almost 100% on potash, but 50%. I'm sorry, almost 100% on phosphorus, but 50% on potash. That's still really high. Now, the caveat to that is that if you do get pesticides impregnated or coated onto your fertilizer, I would say that we're going to see continued uptick in those prices between now and planting of next season or kickoff of next season. And so I would say that it makes most sense, in my opinion, to go ahead and lock in anything that is going to be coated with a pesticide. Especially with some potential disruptions there in supply. So anyway, we'll kind of get into that. Just real quick, gentlemen. I'm sure you're starting to hear a little bit about the early order programs thing. Is anybody talking about smoking deals coming out of left field right now that sound too good to be true to you right now, or is it basically just a lot of the same shit for 2024 with less dire?
Are you talking about? Are we talking about pesticides and herbicides, Matt, or just fertilizers?
You damn it, DeMay. Damn it. I almost bit for half a second.
Had to.
It's just
no. It's fertilizer is I think still a little bit all over the place. I think generally it's come down from the highs of 22 and early 23. There's still some stuff though. We've talked about this even going back into last spring is just cost basis of where manufacturers and have sold it, where producers have sold it, and where distributors have marked it in their inventory. Right. So I think it still behooves everybody that even if you have your favorite fertilizer person, unless you just like that relationship and buy solely on relationship, if you're more price conscious or driven, price out the same materials across the board and see what's up. On the pesticide side for EOP or early order programs, there are some pretty darn good deals out there to be had on specific products, I would say. One that comes to mind, Durentis, Ray, is
Yep.
I think down, I think it's about 60 something, low 60s an acre. Right. So, whereas Acelepryn
Quite a
was
deal.
maybe double that. I'll just go ahead and say comfortably double that number. With it coming off patent this year. And
100 something. Acelepryn was 100 something an acre. If I am looking at the rates and the agency pricing on the Acelepryn product, it was about over 100 per acre. And I know a lot of people were squirming about that, but I said, hey, do it because it pays dividends.
it does. And
Frequently
so
have that
now
conversation with
no, now there's some options. So, your options are to buy Durentis and do that. If you want to support Syngenta, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just going to take, your $65 that you were going to pay plus another 65 and maybe like 32 and a third bottles of baby oil to make that purchase this year.
In relation
I don't know. What's
to
the conversion rate on that right now? Baby oil to the yen? Anybody?
1.32 to 1.
Repeating.
1.32 to 1.
Yep.
I know that impregging the off patent Acelepryn on granular fertilizer is going to be a little bit delayed because there are some lingering patent issues on that, and so it's something I've been hearing some grumbling about on the backside of that deal. So that's looking like that might be closer to like 26 before that's available. So if you spray, you can definitely take advantage of those savings right there. The next one here is I just wanted to give a little update. We've been talking about how ag is not in a good position right now. I will say there is some slight softening, and bad news is bad news. We've got roughly $7 billion in crop damage as a result of Hurricane Helene. And now we have Milton that's about to go through SoFlo, and it is there. I believe I just read before we came on the air that is going to be upgraded to a major hurricane with another absolutely horrific storm surge that's coming with it. So, St. Pete, Tampa, Clearwater area is about to get absolutely ravaged. And with the outer bands here on the southern side, that's going to hit a lot of agriculture in South Florida there. So we might get a little more positive action on being able to produce a profitable crop. But as of right now, we do not. So if we take a look here, this is the CME Farmer Sentiment from Purdue Ag. And it reaches the lowest level since 2016 as income expectations weaken, right? Income expectations, so meaning that farmers are not expecting to make positive income here. So we're at 88, which is the lowest we've been since, September of 2016, which was a long time ago. That was 8 years ago. And so not a good look. We have index of future expectations and current conditions. Neither of those look good right now. And then if we go to the next graph of what everyone's primary concerns are, lower crop and livestock prices, higher input costs. Again, when I was just going through and talking about softening of fertilizer prices on like MAP, DAP, and Potash, one is up still, almost 100%. The other one is up still 50%. That is not a small number. When you're talking about an ROI of like 10, 12% a year, and your input costs go up by 150%. Now, also we have some issues at play related to crop protection costs too. That is definitely not getting cheaper at all. But availability of inputs is not really on anybody's radar. Interest rates are still kind of up there as far as people being worried about it. Farm policy is up there of things that people are starting to kind of be concerned about. Environmental policy, not so much. I think everybody's kind of adapted to the new environmental policy that's kind of come around in the post-Inflation Reduction Act era that we are living in now. So anyway, just to point that out, that it's bleak, it's dark, it's sad right now. The financial performance index is at a 68, which is just awful. Not good at all. A capital investment index is low at 35. Farmland values are declining, and but here's some good news, guys. Planting of cover crops is up. But that's all I got on good news. So anyway, I thought, boy, that's all. There's a diamond in the rough.
Give it
at least
another
people are
3
concerned
months
about saving their soil. Yeah. But I think that does show that in this particular environment we're in, it is important. I read an old kind of a write up not too long ago where people were talking about identifying like optimal organic matter levels in soils. It's kind of another one of these debates. But what ended up being highlighted in the study is that there's very few soils that have very low quality or health. Ultimately, any quality or health controls that are affecting productivity has to do with the management style that's ongoing, right? And one of the things that we're more aware of now is how to incorporate cover cropping into our management strategies to get as much positive impact out of that as possible. So it's good to see that science is kind of actually showing up in real data that is measured by CME. So that, in my opinion, shows some flexibility in ag that is good. And people talk about how ag is hard to change and stuff, but when you're seeing an incline, especially a big jump in people that are going to be covering 50 to 75% of their fields in cover crops. I mean, that's a lot different than it looked 20 years ago. That's for damn sure, without a doubt. So, in my opinion, get some good that you can out of that. Now, the other big news from the week was the longshoreman strike, right? So, those are going to be the port workers on the East Coast. They did strike. They have ultimately resolved that strike and delayed any further negotiations till January 15th. They got a 62% raise over the next 6 years, but their number one issue right now is stop automation from taking our jobs. So it reads right here, Dock Workers Union asserts absolute airtight anti-automation stance. And in my opinion, this is the most, boy, how many people do I want to piss off right now? Should I just go for it? This is the
Just go for it.
stupidest fucking thing I have ever read in my entire life. And this is racketeering in its finest, right? So
You regularly
racketeering is,
driver every day. I mean,
yeah, this is holding
high
an
praise.
entire industry hostage over a fear of automation. And so
Matt,
what does
wait,
that
no,
end
this is
up
not an
affecting?
industry.
That affects our entire fucking country. These people are
Oh, this is
holding
not
our
the-
entire
this-
country hostage
Yeah,
of,
our
of
nation, our
imports
entire-
and exports purely because they're scared of automation. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Well, my question is, with this automation, does that have a chance of actually improving working conditions? Because, Matt, I've seen the longshoreman job, and Matt, would you want to be on a dock in all weather, all conditions, having to handle those shipping containers? I mean, do you want to do
No.
that? I'd say I don't want to do that. I mean, I like my comfortable life where most of the day I just screw off. I mean, I like my comfortable life, okay?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a huge safety aspect at play here, and again, it happens
Because, by
every
the way,
year.
Matt,
There's a port worker or port workers died. For example, in 2024 here in San Pedro,
somebody gets hurt.
one died after becoming trapped under a forklift. We have another one in the Bay Area that died. So I mean, it's just there's actually a lot of them right here. Worker deaths tied to SSA Marines operation, safety violations. Here's another one fell 50 feet to his death from
Time's
a
up,
crane
it's over.
last Wednesday. So look, absolutely, there is a huge safety component here, and but that's not what's important. What's important is that we do a show of force, and we're going to hold everyone hostage until you pay your protection fees, just like the fucking mob. And it's amazing that here this is legal racketeering at its finest, and I'm just going to call it for exactly what it is. And what pisses me off about it is that people say, oh yeah, well, it doesn't. When people were going and buying toilet paper because the longshoremen strike, that is a sign of how ignorant we are as people. Because the majority of toilet paper that's going to be used in the United States is manufactured in the United States. We are not dependent on imported cheap toilet paper to get by.
Hang on, though. You know what, though? I just look, and you know why I just look? It's because anytime these guys throw their tantrums or have their shenanigans, Matt, guess who gets screwed? Me on the tiny little island in the middle of fucking nowhere, because anything and everything that is consumed by this state has to come in on those ships. I'm in trouble. Matt,
Yeah,
no, really,
well,
I'm in damn trouble.
The good news is that LA's port and stuff would still be operational that do not fall under this. So getting Hawaii fed would not be the you would not be on an island, so to speak, in that regard, because a lot of the West Coast operations will still be ongoing. But everything inbound from Europe, even some stuff from China, actually goes around and lands at Charleston, Houston, some of those ports that would be affected by it. So, it's again, it's just absolute insanity, and I hope this is. I hope they're brought back in. I hope they automate the holy shit of it, and then it's done. And then we don't have to worry about it anymore. And I think what people will end up finding through this whole thing, and I think the dock workers will end up finding through the whole thing, is that through automation, is that it's going to open up the doors to another economy-based gig that is probably going to be even higher paying, because there's going to be a tech component to it as well, too. So, It's like mowing guys versus robot mowing guys. They had every right to strike. I'm not in favor of not allowing them to strike. Absolutely, they have their right to strike. But at the same time, is if robot mowing guys are taking the place of mowing guys, then either as a mowing guy, you find your place in the economy where you are wanted, because not everybody's going to want a robot out there, or you continue to mow lawns in your economy that you've established that people don't want robots on, and you start another business with robots that mow lawns. And so it's adapt and overcome. And I think as people, that's one of the things that make us very unique compared to the rest of the animal kingdom, is that we are very quick to solve problems, overcome, and adapt and execute at a very high level. And I think in this particular instance too, is that that's exactly what would happen, is that it would very quickly be overcome. People would adapt, and they would develop a new set of skills that could allow them to perform at a different level, probably even a higher level. But that's ultimately not what they want to have happen, for sure. So anyway, I digress. Let's check out this week's Joe Knows Turf. I got it.
Joe
Knows Turf. Hi, I'm
Joe.
I'm gonna give you a bunch of accurate turf facts today, because
Joe
knows turf.
Well, Joe does know turf. I think we've had a number of people that have been featured on the segment, and here is one today from somebody who we haven't seen in a while, haven't heard from in a minute, and he just put out some content here, and somebody asked us to take a look at this and see if what he is saying is accurate and true, and isn't maybe shrouded in mystery and intrigue. So, without further ado, let's talk to Brian, the turf mechanic.
Hey guys, this is Brian Mounts with Turf Mechanic. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a very controversial topic, the Oakland A's, but also about yard mastery fertilizers. This video has been a long time coming. I want to explain to you what I believe is the absolute best fertilizer that Yard Mastery manufactures and sells. Now, as you can see here on my lawn, we're coming up on Halloween. It's October 4th right now. That's why this stuff right here, Oakland A's, matters, because are they the Oakland A's anymore? Do we call them the Sacramento A's? At what point do we start thinking about them as the Las Vegas A's? I hate that this is going on, and I contend that we should continue calling them the Oakland A's for at least the next 3 seasons while they're in Sacramento. But back to Yard Mastery. The reason that I personally don't use Yard Mastery products here on my lawn is because virtually every single one of them is urea, or polymer coated urea, or some form of semi-synthetic nitrogen source. Some of their fertilizers, even the potassium, is muriate of potash, which is not OMRI listed. This is not suitable for organic lawns, gardens, whatever you're putting it on. Many of the Yard Mastery fertilizer products include micronutrients in them. However, many of those micronutrients are not easily plant available. They will eventually become plant available in a lawn, but not for a very long time. Now, I have nothing against Yard Mastery. In fact, I like how...
Sorry.
Okay.
I heard urea and synthetic and chemicals, and I nodded out on fentanyl. The chemicals got to my brain.
Remember, it would nanograms, not micrograms. Don't make that mistake. Anyhow,
it fits in a syringe is good enough for me.
Hand me my spoon. All right, so Brian is trying to talk to us about, is this the best Yard Mastery fertilizer ever made? And he's talking specifically, he's going to do the big reveal here, but I will go ahead and break the third wall here and tell you that he is talking about the 803 Soil Fit. It is a natural-based fertilizer from Yard Mastery. Now, natural-based, that's an interesting thing. Let's go ahead and real quick, before I jump in here, I want to ask a question real quick. I mean, was there anything that you heard in what Brian said? He basically said they all have urea in them, which they generally do. Some of them, or most of them, have muriate of potash. and he's concerned about OMRI or OMRI, which is basically the clearinghouse for products that need to be labeled as organic, right, or can be used in organic cropping systems.
Okay,
And then finally, he says
Ryan.
about the micronutrients and the oxides, which Matt's talked about at length. Go ahead, Ray.
Okay, here's a little editor comment on that. OMRI only controls agricultural crops that are later sold for food or as a commodity. That's all OMRI cares about. So OMRI has control over products that are going to be applied to, say, organic vegetables or organic wheat. OMRI doesn't give a flying damn about fertilizers that are applied to lawns or ornamentals in the home setting. They don't care. Carry on, Ryan.
Listen,
Depends on the size of your
most
check. Let's be honest, Ray. It depends on how much you're willing to pay.
No, it's not about that. You see, because the OMRI certification is to ensure that the product is in fact suitable for organic production, doesn't contain any deleterious materials. Because I still remember our burn where that guy got an organic product, but come to find out, no wonder the shit worked, because it was full of, what was that, carbaryl and permethrin. I remember that segment.
The box. Yeah, the box. Okay, so normally I would say that, yeah, they don't give a flying rip, Ray, but when you microwave your dirt inside your house,
see how steamy it is?
you may need to consider the sources of maybe. I don't know. Okay. Let's go ahead and see what else Brian has to say about this.
Real quick. Can I just
please interject?
Pink, you mind throwing this link up here? Because we talked about potassium chloride and OMRI, right? One of the easiest constituents to determine whether or not a product can be certified as OMRI or not is if it's a mined mineral. So you can go mine all those oxide nutrients you want and get them OMRI certified. There's plenty of iron oxide that's OMRI certified. Potassium chloride is usually a mined material, and then it goes through a cleaning, a washing in order to purify it. And sometimes it's done with other acids and bases, and that's when it loses OMRI certification. But potassium chloride is definitely able to be labeled as OMRI certified, and there are a metric shit ton of organic, OMRI
fertilizers,
certified potassium chloride sources out there. That so this is already we're not batting too hot out of the gate already, DeMay.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's continue, J Pink, and see what else Brian has to say about
a lot of the products that they sell on their website. However, a lot of the products that I do use, that I do purchase from Yard Mastery, are not actually made under the Yard Mastery label. Within the Yard Mastery product line, the couple products that I use frequently or relatively occasionally would be their sulfate of potash, their dedicated sulfate of potash product, which is an 0048. It's basically just, I'm deficient in potassium in my lawn, so I'm going to add it. The other one is their starter fertilizer. Their starter fertilizer is not extremely nitrogen heavy, and it's not extremely phosphorus high. It's a balance. For all starter fertilizers, I always...
What is their starter?
Okay, their starter, Ryan, is a very overpriced 111.
12, 12, 12.
Yeah, 12, 12, 12. I mean, for heaven's sake, he could have gone down to any old big box and grabbed himself a bag of 16, 16, 16 or 19, 19, 19. Done. Same thing. Just saying.
Boy, 70 bones to get there to your door, and I'm pretty sure this $70. And
good Lord, because I can get 20 pounds of 16, 16, 16 in Hawaii from a big box store for less than $35.
I believe it.
I can get a bag of 16. I can get a bag of 16, 16, 16 for less than $35, and I know a lot of homeowners that's what they fertilize their lawn with. Cheap 16, 16, 16. And their grass looks great, by the way, so I'm not going to judge.
All right. So
Many years
go ahead.
have recommended balanced fertilizers as a blanket statement. That is, if you're not making your own. Now, taking those two products out of the mix, there's actually one Yard Mastery product that I love, and that's this product right here. I'm going to be applying it to my lawn right here today. You see behind me, remember, it's October 4th right now. This is a warm season grass. This is Bermuda grass. So we're at the end of the Bermuda grass growing season. All right, for all the nerds out there, this bag is 45 pounds, 8% nitrogen. That means there's 3.6 pounds of nitrogen in the entire bag. I've got a 1,000 square foot space right here at 8% nitrogen. That means I need 12.5 pounds of the product in the spreader to put all over the lawn. 12.5 pounds, 8% gives me 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So I'm not going to use this whole bag.
Well, bam.
So let me get this right, guys. He's going to put down a pound of N right before his Bermuda is supposed to go dormant. Matt, can you tell me when that would be a good idea to do? Slamming a pound of N on Bermuda right before it goes dormant. When is that a good idea?
I can't think of a single time that would make sense.
No,
If the
because I'm
federal
trying to
authorities
see-
are at your door, ready to take you to prison for the rest of your natural born life,
Mm-hmm.
No, but,
maybe.
no, I'm just trying to think logically now. Okay, the grass is about to go dormant for the winter, and then what is the grass going to do with that pound of nitrogen over the winter? I'm just trying to figure it out. So
This
that
is
it
where
makes
you're
sense.
making the mistake, Ray. He's not feeding the grass. He's feeding the soil. And so he's going to put the grass to sleep by encouraging all the microbial activity and positive soil interaction that occurs with the organic matter that's going to be going down with this product. So if you can
Time's
put
up,
the
it's
grass
over.
to sleep in a great way, he's going to have a soil that is built and charged and ready to go in the spring. Does that
that makes sense. Now
did I
I got-
sound like one of them?
now- yeah, you sure did. Now I get it. Now I'm about ready to go throw down some food on grass about to go dormant. And by the way, my grass about to go dormant time happens a little later. That happens in December, by the way. So there.
Bag. I'm going to use 12.5 pounds of it though. Right now, the day length is shorter than the length of night, and overnight temperatures are starting to drop. Soil temperatures are starting to fall. So it's not going to be very long before this lawn right here goes 100% dormant. But because it's still green and growing, I need to be able to push it because I'm actually killing off some other grasses, kikuyu grass, if you care. And as that kikuyu grass dies, I need the Bermuda grass to spread into those areas so that I don't have bare dirt over the course of the winter. Yeah. Gotta adjust my feet here. I'm not young anymore. Now, if you do live in a climate like my own, where your warm season grass can go deep into the season, or maybe you're growing a cool season grass that's gonna be able to grow very, very well all the way till Thanksgiving, then middle of October fertilizing makes all of the sense in the world. However, we're teetering in between the point where organic fertilizers and synthetic fertilizers, it's a toss-up which one you choose. And that's why I like this product right here. This product, not flashy, it's in a really boring bag, but it's called Soil Fit, and it bridges the gap between organic, natural sources of nitrogen and synthetic.
All right, pause. Now, J-Pink, go ahead and throw up the label, and let's take a look at this product. This is the Soil Fit, gentlemen. And in our derived from statement, there's $73 for the bag. You're paying about a little over $20 a pound for your nitrogen here. And for those of you that are on audio only, we've got a product that is a 803. It is derived from feather meal, soybean meal, wheat flour, urea, ammonium sulfate, sulfate of potash, gypsum, and plant protein hydrolysates. So, Matt, you
Derived from wheat.
Yes, derived from wheat. you have any strong
What were you gonna
reactions
ask
on
me?
this, Matt? Well, I was just gonna say, I
Yeah.
mean, this looks like a product that's made in a lot of different places, and I don't know what appreciably you're changing by putting this product.
Okay,
It's a bridge
so
product.
yep, right out of the gate, this is roughly 30% calcium sulfate, which is what they have to use as a binder, as like a bulking agent to bring up the bulk density of this product, right? Because if it was just and if you look here, the feather meal, soybean meal, wheat flour, these are all just going to be waste streams from
Powders, basically.
crush. Uh-huh.
As
And
powders.
and so the feather meal, though listed first, is going to be the lowest input that you have in here because of the cost, along with the plant protein hydrolysates, and I'll explain how that's done. But so basically, effectively, what you've got is you got feather meal, soybean meal, wheat flour, and it's a waste stream that gets recycled in. Now the benefit of it is that like soybean meal is going to be like a 712 of sorts. Feather meal is a 1300. Wheat flour is going to be really low, like 402 or something like that. And then it's got urea and ammoniacal nitrogen here. So if you look, you add those two up, you're at 5.1 of your 8% nitrogen there, right? So if you were to do that, 5.1 divided by 8 is so 63.75% of your nitrogen here is synthetic. Okay. Just want to make that clear. So when you're concerned about all the urea going down, this is 63% of this is synthetic. And then, of course, you've got gypsum. I don't see this as OMRI listed gypsum. Is this gypsum that is going to be recycled from drywall? I'll give you a hint. It is. The overwhelming majority of gypsum is going to be recycled drywall. So that's what that is. And then you got just a little flippet of sulfate of potash in here because you're going to capture some potassium that comes from your soybean meal and your wheat flour as well too. Now, you're like, but look, it's got the wheat protein hydrolysates. Okay, again, this is going to be another waste stream, right, of from the crush, and then some humic acids and kelp extract. Look, that is going to be a liquid product that someone sells, and you need something tacky when you put this into a granulator. And so, what a perfect thing to put in there. It's going to be real sticky and tacky, and it's going to help start to aggregate those materials as you roll them into granules, right? And so, anyway, that's how this product is put together. It's the overwhelming, not the overwhelming majority, but look, 30+% of this, 40% of it is going to be gypsum. So that's really what you're putting down, and then you get the rest of it's going to be synthetic nitrogen, really, because at a 1300 plus a 712 and a 4 something, and you've got 2% water insoluble nitrogen there. Yeah, man, the majority of this is all synthetic. So whatever you were looking to sell me on as this being an advantage over a synthetic product, well, I mean, we're basically looking at one.
Yep.
This is effectively no different than a polymer coated urea mixed with a regular urea.
And here's my little question. If for whatever reason you needed to blast a warm season grass with some nitrogen right before winter, wouldn't it be more optimal to do that nitrogen blast with, say, straight AMS? Or
straight AMS or ammonium nitrate would be a much wiser
ammonium
choice.
nitrate.
That UAN 32 we talked about to kick off the show. Spray some UAN 32.
Or what about my favorite, Matt? You remember that 2600 ammonium nitrate sulfate?
Yeah.
That hot stuff. I mean that because I know that stuff. You put some of that down, you get nitrogen yesterday. All right, because of that ammonium nitrate sulfate.
So, DeMay, with all that out of the way,
Brian thinks it's good. Let's skip here to the end. Let's let Brian his final summation before we give ours here.
Okay.
Kind of falls right in the middle. As you would expect, whatever product you buy really is a personal decision. The ingredients are the most important factor, in my opinion. But if you're going to be buying Yard Mastery fertilizers, this is the one that I recommend more than any other. Having said that, if you do want to go purely organic, I already mentioned the Innova product, which is purely soybean meal. I did a small, tiny review of that product up here in the corner. It is significantly more expensive, but it's significantly much more natural. So go ahead and take a look at that.
Significantly much more natural. Okay. He did talk too about how the grass would use first the urea, then the semi-synthetic nitrogen, and then the natural based nitrogen. So
what is a semi-synthetic nitrogen, DeMay?
Well, when the turtle's not all the way in its shell and, it's not party time yet, there's the semi, Matt. If I go back to health class and that little diagram that they put up there, I don't want to, get too graphic, but it's semi.
Right.
Look, one of the things that just drives me crazy about this, right? So, for example, a protein hydrolysate can be labeled OMRI, right? If anyone is aware of how these hydrolysates are derived, typically you're using either a strong acid or a strong base to hydrolyze these proteins into their amino acid form. And I don't know if you're aware, but has anyone seen OMRI sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid, or
Nowhere.
OMRI sodium
Nowhere.
hydroxide or OMRI potassium hydroxide? Yeah, you're not going to find it.
Not happening.
And so,
Yep.
it's catalyzed and reacted in a very non-organic way, but the final product, it's just like, look, call a spade what it is, and just be done with it. Trying to, I don't know. It feels icky. I'm not gonna lie. It makes me want to take a shower.
Well, and I think too that it's not. I'm not going to question Brian's motives. I don't think it's.
I think he just wants to use a natural product.
He
Sure,
does.
he can.
He does. And I think maybe having heard this, that he would think twice about, maybe there is a better product I could use, and maybe I could think about, timing of said product and so on and so forth. So anyway,
I've got nothing wrong with spreading soybean meal or even feather meal. Feather meal is a great option if you want to use an organic nitrogen source. Feather meal is a great option for you. They've even gotten really good with these amino acids now, where you can get all the way up to like a soluble 1600 now if you want to do a liquid application of it. Just be careful. You start going over like 32 ounces of an acre, you're going to kill grass. I'm just warning you, like these protein hydrolysates are super ultra low rate, and you start getting into like ounces per 1,000 square feet, you will kill the grass. I'm going to tell you right now, this is ultra low rate use shit.
It's a bit much. And I got another one that I'm familiar with, but I don't think anybody's going to want to fool with it because you might bring the coyotes to the yard, and that is actual blood meal.
Blood meal and bone meal, both.
Yeah.
Quality products. I love blood meal. I'm familiar with it.
I'm familiar with blood meal because that would be my go-to if, say, I needed to make supersized fruits and vegetables. I'd start side dressing the crop with blood meal. Guess what happens when you do that, Matt? You get some enormous tomatoes, by the way. Don't ask me how I know.
Yeah, so I want to be clear with this too, right? Like, on the protein hydrolysate thing, right? The derived from statement of the protein hydrolysate is going to be very important too, right? Because you're not going to see it so much in turf right now. That is a good thing. I see it more in the outskirt fringe of ag, where animal derived proteins are being sold into ag, specifically for high value crop production like tomatoes. And for example, animal derived protein hydrolysates on fruits are absolutely killing the holy shit out of fruits right now. And it is a big deal. It is phytotoxic as hell. And I hope those products don't make it into turf. You're not going to see it right now. What you do want to make sure is that it is vegetatively derived protein hydrolysates. Those are those are going to be your better ones. Then if you want to get real weird, is it enzyme extracted? If it's enzyme extracted, then chances are you're going to have more of actual free peptides that are in it of different molecular weights and amino acid chain links. If it's acid-base extraction, there's probably just going to be free amino acids, not peptides. And so, you can get into the weeds on it to elicit different substances you want, but it gets, more cost prohibitive or, just a little difficult to come by. But anyway, that's my point. They're not all equal, and they're not for something you just go pick up and, hey, shit, it says 16 ounces per acre on the bottom. I'm gonna do 16 ounces on my front yard and watch what happens when it stops growing and then just does like this real odd slow death. Anyway, let's check out this week's burns. Yes. I saw this, guys, and I would love to see this replicated in the turfgrass industry. Turf is the I say, we're the bastard love child of agriculture. And this is why I think it's important is if we go down to the third chart here, man, I did not realize is the share of total employment that agriculture holds right now. And this chart between 1910 and 2010 as the number of people that are employed in agriculture is quite alarming versus on the other line there, which is non-agricultural employment. Now, two things here is that, kind of back to the automation talk here is that we are feeding more people than we ever have by leaps and bounds with fewer and fewer and fewer agricultural employment, which is an absolute just modern miracle. I think that is a testament to the industry as a whole and how absolutely incredible it is and the scientific gains that have come about in the 20th century. But man, that is frightening that it is declining like that. And I say this to say is that chances are it's probably happening in turf to the same degree. So a couple of things that I saw, for example, was University of Missouri. I think it was like 2010 had something like 45 turfgrass students. And then if you compared it today, they were down to like 16. And that was as of like 2020 or something of the sort. I know like NC State has a bigger program, but they're not seeing enrollment rates high enough that makes sense to keep the industry fed. What exactly does this mean? I honestly have no idea. But I think what it does show is that it's more important than ever to pay attention to the things that you can do in your business to get more done with less, and whatever strategy that employs, right? So if it's speeding up your process of making estimates and getting them out to people, speeding up processes of measuring lawns and getting that information inputted, streamlining your process with robust systems is more important than it ever has, because we just have a monumentally declining labor pool, because there's nothing sexy about our industry compared to like a corporate campus that you see on TikTok, where you can go get sushi for lunch that's provided to you and a 64-ounce cup of coffee that came from coffee beans that they fed to elephants, and they shit it out and they hand picked it out and then just made it into this just unbelievably great coffee, right? My point being is that I think that now than ever, we just have to accept the data that's in front of us and exactly that, adapt and overcome. And the people that do that earliest are going to be the ones that walk away holding the largest part of the pie. And it's strictly a strategic move. So anyway, I just wanted to flip this around to you guys. And DeMay, I know you're more in tune with your alma mater than I am, and I'm curious. You don't have to give me any statistics, but I don't think anybody's going to deny that the turfgrass enrollments are down. Maybe not regionally, but definitely nationally. And what is the sentiment that you hear from people that are looking for people to hire?
Well, I mean, on the supply and demand side, I'd say supply is no doubt down. It's been down for a while. I think on that side of it, it is meeting people where they are, right? That the traditional 4-year model or 2-year model is really tough to commit to. I think the 2-year degree turf degree is a little bit more approachable because of
I agree.
it's more hands on. It's a little bit more out of the box. Like you can just
Practical.
go get a job and you're going to learn a lot more about what you need to be successful from the start than if you were to go through a 4-year program. And I don't know everybody's 4-year program. Um, on the land grant side, I can't speak to it uh, and say that, hey, it's the same across the board. But of the ones I've seen, I think that generally speaking, the 2-year degree prepares you better to go out at that stage of your career and be successful, right? I think that your 4-year degrees, and I went through both. I saw both sides of it, so I can speak to my own personal experiences on that and say that I felt better equipped to go out and do the job that was being asked of me at in my early to mid 20s, coming out with a 2-year degree more so than a 4-year degree. So,
Let me let
um,
me let me ask you this. So with for example, the first 2 years, we'll say 2 years, are you're not really taking a lot of major specific courses, right? Maybe year 2, you're starting to get more involved in it.
you know,
But especially year 1, you're not. And you're having to tack
no,
on a number of electives along with it, and, how many all right, golf was one of mine, right? And but was that really career building material that I was doing there, other than hitting golf balls at a driving range, or at least writing on a sheet of paper that I did? No. And so to your point, and I want to emphasize this, that I wholly believe that 2-year programs are going to better prepare people for the industry than 4-year programs, unless your end goal is to work in academia. And that's just my take on it.
yeah, I think there's things about a 4-year degree that lend itself, but I think as a whole, right, as an industry, we need to get away from the idea that these are the only two ways that you can go about doing it, right? And I think that UT's done some certificate programs. I know Ohio State's got a really robust certificate program um, for different parts of turf and things like that. But I guess that's the part that I struggle with and advocate for is that, hey, we need to do a better job meeting people where they are. I think there's a lot of apprenticeship programs now that you're starting to see rolled out on the golf side. It really should become the norm in the lawn care industry, if I could
Mhm.
say so, because there are people that we want to have in this industry, right? People that have good heads on their shoulders, people that want to work hard, people that understand that, hey, there's a lot to learn. It's not going to happen overnight, and that a lot of this business to be successful requires failure in order to do so. And I think that the stakes are so high now between uh, business being booming and things like that, that we feel like we can't make a mistake and we can't trust somebody to go out and do it. So there's a lot. We could do a whole show on this. On the demand side of what people want, I think it just depends on where you go. If you go to a more buttoned down place that's a golf course, a really high end one or something like that, yeah, they probably wanna see you have a 4-year degree still to this day. I've seen that sentiment, though, changing a lot even, at those levels of, "Hey, can this person do the job? Have they shown, the ability to earn increasing responsibility and, be good stewards of money, provide, the right amount of communication," things like that. So, all these soft skills, it's really, fascinating to watch uh how little, turf grass management's done at the highest level these days. And I don't mean to
Mhm.
knock those guys. I mean, I'm just saying that it is so much of everything else. And I'm sure that if you went and asked, shit, go ask, turfology, go ask Slushy, go ask Brent, go ask any of these guys, is that, the turf part, you learn that and you make some mistakes and you grow and you get more information, everything like that. And those are the things that are easy, and those are the things that are fun. It's all the other stuff, right, that you have to learn and go through to be really successful. I think that's where, we gotta figure out how to do a better job because, yeah, it is alarming and scary, Ray, to think about, what happens next? You know,
Yup.
I don't know
For sure.
we probably all sound like a bunch of curmudgeons up here and everything like that, but like we talked to a kid like Derek, we talked to a kid like Jason, and like those moments give me extreme hope. And these guys can't be outliers. There's no way that these guys are just two or three or four of them. They have to be out there, and they have to be out there. Maybe not in the same volume and numbers that they were 15 or 20 years ago, but gosh darn it, like we need more of those kids. And how do we get them to be in here and not get their dicks ground on the ground and stay the course and keep going and be with it here 20 years down the road? That was one of the more fascinating things. I'll finish up on this is that, so Matt, you talked about your first year. So when 2 year school, like you go right into it. There's like 2 or 3 different washout classes that they have to basically make it be like, listen, if you can't pass this, you can't fucking do this. Like, just get out. So the one class,
if you can't pass algebra, you can't do it.
Well,
Makes
that and
total sense. You should.
I can't remember exactly what the class is called, but turfgrass systems or something like that at Ohio State. The 2 year program was a washout class, and then the next one after that was turfgrass math and trying to figure out all that stuff. That was a washout class too. But they had this introduction to turf, and so I go in this big lecture hall, and this is back in like the heyday, right? There's probably 70 of us, incoming freshmen, first year students that are in this class. And the instructor says, all right, look to your left, look to your right. Like, okay, whatever. So, all right, now count to 5 people that are around you. So you count to 5, and it's like, okay. And those 5 people, 2 of them will not be in the industry in 3 years. And then he's like, count to 10. Count 10 people. And he's like, what was it? It was like 10 years, 8 of these people won't be in the industry. So it was something like that. It was like a 70 or 80% washout in 10 years that, and that's part of the deal is that it's a tough industry to stick around in. It's a tough industry to find your way to keep moving up. And it's also one too, where it's totally fine. Like if you want to be a one-man band, as a fert and squirt guy and do all the work yourself and rake in, $100,000 a year and net that and go home in the winter and not do shit, more power to you, man. Like that's the thing is that I think that I've said this before on this show, and this is a really fucking long diatribe answer. I'm sorry, but I just had it got me fired up.
This is good.
We as an industry of people, right? The doers, and I think this is because that we're perpetually people that nothing's ever done, right? We talked about this with Paycheck, that we're never done. We're always going, always going. We fucking suck at defining success. We are absolutely some of the most abysmal people about defining success. And so naturally, when things aren't going your way, you're like, well, I haven't accomplished anything. I haven't done anything. And I've had these conversations with
Ryan,
dozens and dozens of people over the years and say, like, you've accomplished a lot. Take stock of what
I think I have a different perspective on this because, I'm in the place where, remember now, I am trying to reach my finish line. Right, guys? I'm trying to reach my finish line right now. I mean, I'm not going to be the one to say, oh, I want more accounts, more customers, more people. I mean, no. I am reaching my finish line. And you know what, guys? When somebody as a solo operator can reach that finish line and stop wanting more, and he can see the end, you know what, guys? I call that a success. All right?
Sure.
I call that a success. And guess what? My other finish line is the fact that I'm still relatively young. Because you know what? I told somebody my plan, and he looked at me and he said, you know what, Ray, you don't look that old. And I took that as a compliment. Okay, I took that as a compliment. And of course,
I have standards.
No, and the other one is I told him some more and he said, but Ray, you look perfectly healthy. And I said, I want it to stay that way.
Yeah, and I'm sure there comes a point with time and age and duration in the industry where that becomes easier, right? I would say for people in their 30s, it's a little bit harder to even think that far out because it feels like it's going to be a lifetime away of sorts. And I think the good news there is that regardless of whatever kind of insanity you feel like you're going through now, there will be a time where it's going to be easier to look at what you've done and said, I'm proud of this. I How many times has that happened to me in my life? Very few, very few. Now at 40, I can look back on more things that happened in my past at the time that I was completely just overshot as something that was incredibly insignificant, and or even chalked it up as a giant fat fucking L, and just filed it away in my brain that way. And now, this many years removed, I'm like, actually, I'm pretty proud of how that fucking shook out, and so there is a shift there, but again, it's so easy in the day-to-day grind to not see the forest for the trees, and it could be a tough position to be in. My main concern with it right now is that if you were to um attempting to draw people into this industry under the guise of let's just say it's going to cost $80,000 to get a 4-year degree. And at $80,000 to do that, and to have that repaid, through however you get, all your finances for college. Of course, you want to pick an industry that when you get out, you're going to be making, $120,000 a year, because it makes that $80,000 tab you're carrying a lot less oppressive. Now,
Yeah.
if you can get in and out of school for $5,000, or new 2-year programs that are being covered by lottery altogether, for example, Pellissippi State here in Knoxville, you can go and get a 2-year degree for free. Absolutely free. It is completely covered by the lottery scholarship now. You can go trade school, you name it, all covered, completely free. If you're an adult and you want to go back to school and go back to trade school, completely fucking free through Pellissippi State because of the lottery money. That's wow. Now all of a sudden, if Pellissippi State opened up a 2-year turf degree or turf program, we won't call it a degree, we'll call it a program or certificate of sorts. I think that becomes a lot more appealing for people, just because, I mean, again, and that you get in-state tuition or whatever. I mean, you're still going to be paying, 15, 18, $20,000 a year to go to school. That's a
And
lot of
Matt,
fucking money, man. That's a
here,
lot of
here,
fucking
here,
money. Heaven
here's
forbid
my
you want to go
question.
out of state. It's going to be $30,000, $40,000 a year. Now you're talking about
And
160 grand. It's
here's my
nuts.
question though. Here's my question though, because this insult has frequently been tossed around where they say, "Oh, those that cannot do end up teaching." And you know what? Guess what? That is perfectly true. I will wear that because I'm at the stage in my life where I cannot actually do this for much longer. Because let's face it, I'm getting old, right?
No, I think that's copium when people say that. I don't think anyone can look at our 3 careers and just say those are just abject failures. Yet we get up here and we talk, and I know, DeMay, you actually have a teaching role, period. And
Yeah.
and that's not because you can't do. That's for fuck sure. And I would actually fight anyone. I would fist fight someone on cue without warning if they said you sucked at your job, DeMay. I would beat the fuck out of that person and not feel anything about it whatsoever. And
And you know what,
I
Matt?
wouldn't feel anything
I would.
bad about it. In fact, I would be happy about it. I
Let
would
him
feel
shut
good
up.
about it. I would
Okay, you know
record it
what?
on video. I'd put it on TikTok and be like, "The Turf Boys are fucking in town, and we're taking your
You know
ass to
what?
school." Fucking tool
I
bag.
would. I would say the same thing, except I wouldn't beat them up. You see, I would just
Shit, I
say,
would.
"Okay,
The redneck in
no,
me would come to the surface. I'd be boiling hot. My neck would be so red it looked like it's on fire.
No, but you see, Matt, remember now, I don't recall ever beating anybody up. I never do. However,
Well,
you already have that look in your face. However, let's just say that the guy would not be in good shape after.
yeah.
I didn't beat him
Yeah.
up. I didn't beat him up, but then he wouldn't be in very good shape after. He wouldn't be in very good condition. And you know
His
what?
ankles are broke.
That would be my response to somebody that said, for example, that Ryan teaches because he's a failure and he cannot do. I say,
God, I
oh
would
yeah,
smoke that person. Oh my God. No. Phew.
no,
Hope that never
no.
happens.
Let me show you the failure that Ryan is. Okay, and likewise for
I've got
anybody.
plenty of exhibits.
No,
When we go
however,
into
and
Columbus,
likewise,
hey, tuck your bail money in your sock. I'm going to jail, boys. Y'all ready?
but having said that,
roll it up, put it in a plastic bag, and have to cough it out.
anybody that says that,
Sir, why is this
one
in
of
your
us
rectum? It's bail money.
are failures, I'd counter that because, yeah, right. If we're failures, how come we're able to make a living on this? And how come at least one of us is planning on retiring very soon? There,
Yeah,
that's
Hey,
a failure.
listen. You want to know what makes us most qualified? Is that we get up here and we rip people's ass from the internet on video every week. It's great.
Yeah.
Millionaire Maine couple accused of poisoning beach by killing neighbors' trees for a better view. You heard that
All right.
right. So
What did
when
they do?
you are just really looking to make a giant mistake, what do? You poison your neighbor's trees so you can get a better view. These trees, which served as a barrier to a wealthy company's otherwise unencumbered view of the ocean, were allegedly poisoned by the politically connected pair to secure a $1 million vista of Camden Harbor. The incident was brought to light by Lisa Gorman, wife of the late LL Bean president Leon Gorman, who claims her neighbors, Amelia Bond and Arthur Bond III, used an herbicide to poison oak trees on her property without permission back in 2021. Yet the story takes a darker twist. The poison meant for the trees seeped into a nearby park and even infected the town's sole public seaside beach, prompting an investigation by the state attorney general. Anybody dumb enough to poison trees right next to the ocean should be prosecuted, as far as I'm concerned, said Paul Hodgson, voicing sentiment of many disgruntled residents in Camden, an enticing oceanside settlement of 5,000 nested at the foot of the mountains that crest from the Atlantic Ocean. The harbor, adorned with lobster boats, yachts, and schooners, stands as an epitome of schooners. Of idyllic, beautiful beauty. But in a story that could easily be mistaken for a made-for-TV drama, a wealthy couple from out of state, a member of the esteemed L.L. Bean family playing detective, and a potent chemical used in the notorious football rivalry all come together in this quaint village setting. I'm not going to lie. Whoever wrote this is a brilliant writer. I'm actually enjoying this.
This is somebody
Super
that's
brilliant because here's the thing, guys. Just for the listeners following along, these crazy people did another Harvey Updike. Can you all say Tebusayuran? That's a mouthful, but I think I know what happened now. These horrible and selfish people decided to go broadcast Tebusayuran to go kill all these oak trees. There, I said it.
There it goes. And boy, they are going to be facing some pushback on this. They have a $4,500 fine that's going on from the Maine Board of Pesticide Control Board, and they also paid $180,000 to resolve violations with the town, and another $30,000 for additional environmental testing. Then they paid over $1.5 million to Lisa in a legal settlement. And boy, oh boy, man, it was
Maine is just full of people that want to pay all the prices or be like Jacob, and not pay anything.
Okay, and here's the thing. Here's the thing is that, okay, I can tell you right now that knowing what I know about what happened, these people thought, hey, I can go smoke these trees that are blocking my view for a couple $100 because I know pretty much what they did. By the way, this is all this stuff costs. You can get an acre worth of dead trees for about $200, Matt. Not kidding.
Yeah.
No, you can get an acre worth of dead trees for about $200 because the other week I did a job where I broadcast about that much into a forest of brush. And in a couple of years, all that stuff will be gone. It'll be dead. But
I just want to, yeah.
$2
But
million
here's the thing.
to take a tree out. I'm sure these people were like, yeah, fuck it. Bring it on.
We just need
Yeah,
Jacob to go
but-
out there and issue a fatwa on paying full price, and everything will be fine.
But man,
This isn't a religious jihad. It's just I religiously I can't. I object to paying
But-
full price. Sorry.
No,
this is
no
just-
peace.
Between me and
No
God.
something. No
Allah.
peace. No.
but
no.
this is just
no herbicide. No peace.
stupid-
Shit. I don't know.
yeah, but this is just
I ain't chanting that.
stupid. Yeah, this is just super stupid because okay, did these people ever think that if you want to do something bad, you never do it with poison? Never do anything bad with poison.
This is like
Okay,
what was that? Chris Carter.
I'm gonna
always have a fall
no,
guy.
I'm gonna put that
Always have a fall guy.
I'm gonna put that out right now. Never do anything bad with poison because you know what the problem
Tree
is
chipper.
with doing
And bleach.
things bad with poison is that it is highly detectable because you know what I get frequently hired to do, guys? Do you know what I frequently get hired to do in the state of Hawaii?
Investigate poison.
Investigate or act as expert witness. Okay, that's what I get to do.
Well, since he died, there'll be a new edition coming out, I'm sure. But If I Did It by O.J. Simpson with foreword by Ray Ito.
Let's check out this week's return.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
I'm back.
Boy, we have a podcast episode in the making right now because a husband calls the Australian equivalent of 911 at 3:30 a.m. to report his wife's fatal injuries in an apparent lawnmower incident, and it's being looked at by police as they investigate the death. Miss Crawford here, 49 years old, was found dead alongside a ride-on mower at their property just before 3:40 a.m. on July 30th. They found her at the foot of a retaining wall in the backyard. Forensic testing and analysis of how Miss Crawford ended up at that location remain under investigation. Her husband has been assisting police and has not been named a suspect. On Friday, Detective Superintendent said the timing of the emergency call contributed to police deeming the death as suspicious. 3:37 was the approximate time emergency services arrived at the location. I've outlined Mr. Crawford has assisted police with their inquiries, and to this date, we believe that he's the last person who had probably seen her alive that evening. That's the information we have at the moment. But police also revealed that Mr. Crawford has been messaging multiple women all over the world on dating apps. We believe there are women who are involved in relationships with Mr. Crawford who may have information about Mrs. Crawford that will assist in the investigation. Mr. Crawford may have met these women on dating apps and through his personal and professional life. In early August, Queensland police said they were treating Miss Crawford's death as suspicious, but on Friday, they are investigating whether she was murdered. Investigations are underway by the Crime and Intelligence Command Homicide Group and Gatton Criminal Investigation Branch into the circumstances that led to her death. He said one line included the relationships they believe Miss Crawford's husband, Robert, had with multiple women. Mr. Crawford was at the property on the night his wife died and has been assisting police since her death. He's not been charged. Anyway, she was located at the bottom of a retaining wall. The mower was located at the bottom of a retaining wall, along with Miss Francis, who was deceased at the time she was located. If you have any information, contact us. Come on, guys. 3:30 in the morning, I'm sorry. If my wife is like, hey, honey, it's 3:30. I think I'm going to go mow the backyard.
I mean,
You'd be like, you need to put the meth pipe down and go to sleep.
This is
Yeah.
Reva Steenkamp outside with the lawnmower, and the perp's got 2 legs. I mean, that's basically what this is.
I know. I thought when I first read the headline, I was like, "This is a Goosebumps article by R.L. Stein," and
R.L. Stein.
it turns out it is not. Anyway,
Are you
why
afraid
this
of
is
the dark?
return is that thank God for how stupid this husband is. That hopefully someone has brought to justice in the death of Miss Crawford here, because you're just out trying to mow the yard at 3:30 in the morning, and then all of a sudden someone
don't think
drops you
so.
down a retaining wall.
Everyday
This
shit.
dude killed her and then threw her over there to make it look like an accident, and it's just Jesus Christ, man, this is nuts. Anyway, that's going to be it for this week. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Coming up next weekend, we will have one final show, and then we have our annual meetup for our patrons. So we will be hanging out with them in Louisville, Tennessee. So if you want to learn more about that, well, of course, you have to come at patreon.com/burner return. We have a meetup every year, and it's always a good time. Tons of people come out. We do a lot of drinking. We do a lot of storytelling, a lot of hanging out. We meet people, kiss babies. We see some interesting things, and we're going to have a lot of late nights at some of our favorite places, like Spinelli's, if you know, you know, like Taj, if you know, you know. I'm sure we'll see some unfriendly faces and go nose to nose with them, and peacock real hard because, you know, my spreader's bigger than your spreader. And then we'll be like, yeah, well, I carry more nitrogen than you carry. And you're going to be like, yeah, well, I have a full set of AI nozzles and you only have a full set of IA nozzles, loser. And but it'll all be a good time. And so anyway, for those of you that are coming out, we love you and can't wait to see you. And for those of you that are not going to make it out, well, you should join the Patreon. It's only like $5 a month. Patreon.com/burner return. Check it out. And then next year you can come hang out with us, or at our next one you can come hang out there too and be around a group of people who have a genuine interest and thirst for learning more and capturing all the additional great things there is about life and taking full advantage of them to be as happy as humanly possible. Outside of that, we're going to go hang out with our patrons, let them choose the title of this week's episode. Otherwise, you can what was it? What was it I said to that guy in Canada that time?
Oh, all right.
Fuck.
It wasn't this one.
Jesus Christ. It was not that one. There it is.
This guy's
there it
a
is.
fucking weirdo. Go ahead, cowboy.
Nailed it.
It's all of those.
Y'all have a great week. We'll see you on the flip side.
But
Get fucked.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Yo, one water sports joke.